Alrighty. Yes, we are doing some stuff. Yeah. This is going to be an interesting little thing. I'm just going to talk about some upgrades that we got going on. And got our latte. It is like a quadruple shot latte because we actually went out after we hit the gym today. We went out, we got some Indian food, naan bread and curry chicken. It was really, really good. So we did that. And then, of course, we stopped by and we got some coffee at this new coffee place. Coffee was meh. It was okay. But it was super sweet. Holy crows, like drinking a bottle of syrup. So they put way too much syrup in there. So it was like syrup. And so when I got home, I ended up making another one. So this is a quad shot latte. Yeah. So it's quite the thing. Hey, we got George is here. George pops up and says hi. And we got Mr. Ferretis here. Hey, good morning. From New Orleans. So you did make it to Louisiana. Ah, cool. One time I went down to Louisiana. I was not stationed there, but we went to Fort Polk for training exercises, and oh Lord, it was nasty down there. Of course, it was in the middle of summer, so it probably wasn't as cool as it is now there for you, but man, that was crazy. Some good news. I was able to get a company contacted me and said, hey, would you like to do a review? Of course, I put feelers out and they responded and it was like, hey, cool. Yeah, I'd like to do that. Let's see. Ferretis says, left today early to dodge a storm was the best idea. New York got 12 inches of snow. Yeah, I know. I saw that. That was crazy. So, now you're down where it's a little bit warmer. Yeah. Here it's not too bad. Here it's about 30 degrees, so it's been a little cool-ish. It's been brisk, but it's not too bad. I don't mind cold weather. Wife doesn't like it, but so I sent out a bunch of emails, like I said in previous videos, said, hey, I want to try to do reviews and stuff like that. And I actually got a bite, and this is going to be the Neo Blade. The Neo Blade is an ultrasonic cutter. So, yeah, I'm going to look forward to doing that review. Yeah. So, I was thinking about buying one of those, and I thought, well, you know what? I'll just put out some feelers for like 3D printing companies and stuff like that. And then, so Neo Block ended up saying, hey, or Han Boost, whatever it is. And then they also have a sanding block thing that we're going to check out. So it's kind of it's a sanding block, and but this is kind of expensive, but it's got 1200, 180, 240, 400, 600, and 800 grit sandpaper. So we'll see how that goes. I think it could be good, but I think it's going to be expensive. And the Neo, that's going to be an interesting little thing there as well. Oh, we got Terry says, hey. Yeah, Terry, good seeing you. Thank you for the emails. Ferretis says it's going to be cold this week here as well. 30s. Oh, when I arrived, it was 60. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's 30s. But it's been pretty good. So, some of the upgrading that I've ended up doing. What I did was I tore apart the computer, not tear it apart physically, but everything that was connected up to it. And I have a Mac Mini, M2 2023 Mac Mini, works pretty good. I mean, video editing, the whole 9 yards, it works great. But the problem is I had a port. So in other words, let me see if I can show you. Is my phone working? Yes, my phone is working. We'll do this. So there's the Mac Mini, and what ended up happening is that I had too much stuff plugged into the hub there that connects up to the Mac Mini, and so that's why I was getting some configuration problems with it because I had more stuff that was conflicting that was plugged into the hub, and it really should have been plugged into the ports on the back. So like the USB-C ports and stuff like that. So I took apart everything. We got Mr. Thanos standing guard there. And yeah, as you can see there, we got everything hooked up. We got all our cameras in there, and we're able to get a bunch of cameras, which is awesome. So I actually got all those to work. And we ended up taking, let me see, can I get into this? Yeah. So this light used to be over here because we ended up getting a new light. So this workstation is pretty good. And again, we got the scaffolding, got the camera, got all that stuff. So that is squared away. And then I spent a lot of time cleaning. Look at that. All nice and clean. Threw a bunch of crap away. And in this, check this light out. Motion activated light. And then you can like move this and then rotate the light into, you know, wherever you want. So, I mean, that is so cool. And then this thing has a remote, which is insane. So check this out. It's got a remote. And what I can end up doing is I can set it for, there's the PC, and then I can set it for painting, and then there's like music, and then there's like leisure, but I pretty much just keep it on painting, and then it's got some, you can toggle through some stuff, I guess. And then you can kind of go through and you can set the, you can dim it as well. So, and then you could turn it off, or you could turn it on from here. I wonder what those two do. I'm not sure what these two do. What's that do? Oh, okay. So it's a dimmer, and then this one, I'm not sure what that does. And then it also has a timer. So yeah, pretty cool. I mean, pretty flexible. So leave that there. And I printed out this bad boy. Look at that. That is awesome. That is a big blade. I don't know if I can get my whole hand in there because this weird camera thing. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I had to print this out. Had to print that out. That is just incredible. So we're doing a little bit on, you know, filling in some edges. My connectors were off, so it kind of went through the model a little bit. So, but yeah, I scaled this up a little bit, and it is the beast. So that's going to be pretty cool. Looking forward to painting this one. This will be a quick little project that we got going on there. So we've got the S3 camera, the YOLO cam, which is working out better with the autofocus and everything. And yeah, I even have a camera. So I've got that camera. I've got the face cam 4K, and then I have a camera there that I could also use. But with that, I can also have a longer cable. I got to test that out. And that way I can have a long, like 30-foot cable. So I could take that into the printing room, and we could do some stuff over there if we wanted with the camera. So yeah, the room is coming out pretty good. And of course we got all the stuff. And we still have that guy that needs to get painted as well. And of course the Hulk and stuff like that. There's my little helmet there. Eventually I'll make another one of those. And then I got the Frostmourne sword that I'm going to do for my daughter. And yeah, so things are turning out good. And then even better is next month, all behind there, those are just shades. but behind the desk there, the table there, I'm going to get pegboard. So that way it'll look a lot better and I can have some more storage and yeah, get it even more clean than what it is now. So that's going to be pretty cool. Yeah. And back to the latte. Yeah. So that's what we got going on. Let's see. I'm done. Catch up on full-on professional setup. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I am getting there. So, yeah, doing pretty good. It is working out. It is doing well. So, oh, and the Warhammer Dagger, if you're interested in that, let's see, can we bring this up? Yes, there it is. I found this on Maker World, and with that, let me just kind of organize this a little bit. Anyway, with that, on this, that's the guy there. Obviously, it's in Chinese, but yeah, this is pretty cool. It turned out pretty cool. Mine's bigger, of course. I scaled it up a bunch, and then I stretched it out a little bit on the axis to make it a little bit longer. So yeah, it's bigger than his. I mean, that's kind of, I mean, it's still pretty cool, but I wanted something big. It's got to go big or go home. So there is that guy, and that's on, dun, 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 dun. Yeah, there it is. So I printed that out, and yeah, it's like 21.5 inches long. Yeah, 21.5 inches long. It's a beast. So if anybody's interested in that, and again, I don't know this guy from Adam. I just saw that. Well, let's take a look and see what else he's got. He's got like 16 models. So he's got the Warhammer one, which is partially or AI generated. So whatever he ended up doing, it came out pretty cool. But yeah, it's a big beast. It's a big beast of a knife. White Walker Dagger, that looks pretty cool as well. That is sharp. And then he's got some Chinese coins that he's done. Little ghost. Mirrored recoil amulet. That looks kind of neat. So he's got a few other things. I mean, it's not, I think it's all AI generated, honestly. Let's see what that one is. Has been automatically translated. It doesn't say anything. I'm assuming these things are AI generated, because I know with the Warhammer one, it ends up, it was, because it actually, as a casual Warhammer fan, silently drawn to Warhammer, I AI-assisted design and AI modeling to create this dagger. So, I don't know, it turned out pretty good. That was pretty sharp. I like that. So he's got a few other things. It's kind of like a mishmash of stuff. Coins of Pirates of the Caribbean. That's kind of cool. So he doesn't have a lot of the same stuff. It's kind of like me. He does something here, does something there. Something catches his attention, but the Warhammer model, that one stuck out. I was like, yeah, that looks good. That looks good. So yeah, let me copy this, and we will put this in the comments section. And the best part is it's free. So yeah, there it is. If you're interested in that, looks pretty good. Printed out on the K2 Plus. I ended up orientating it a little bit different because when you scale it up, of course, it's not going to fit on the build plate of the K2 Plus, so I had to cut it in half. And I found out something interesting. I don't know if you all know this. Let me close some stuff out here, and I'll start this up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We bring up the Creality Print. Oh, by the way, Creality Print has a new firmware that came out, And unfortunately, a bunch of people are complaining about it already. They're like, no, no. Um, yeah, so people are going back to the previous. I haven't upgraded. But let's see if we can get this in here. Quality print. What do we have? Recent project. Dun, 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 dun. Oh no, that's what I want. So there's that. So you could print it in that orientation. And I did some connectors. You can see the holes on there, and we got 2 squares to put that together. So that's kind of neat. It works out. Slice the plate. I want to say it was like 11, 12 hours. But on the one that I did, I split the blade in half and ran it that way, and it turned out pretty decent. So, but as I was doing that, because I split the blade, it ends up that the holes for the dowels, the square dowels that we have, because you can see we got the square dowel holes there. But when I copied this over, I'll show you what I ended up doing. So I took this one here and I cloned it. And we'll take the clone and we'll bring that over here. And on the clone, it has the holes. Because when we split it on, it used to be one model. So when I split that in half with a planer cut, you're able to put in the connectors, everything works. Okay. But when I cloned this over here, and then when I did this, this is kind of interesting. So I brought this down here, and it's like split it that way. And I thought, why not? So I did the connectors. Let's throw a couple connectors in here just for the heck of it. It should be good to go. They're just small anyway, whatever. But when I split this apart, you can see that it's got the 2 holes here. We'll confirm those. We'll do the cut. And there. And yet, somehow, yeah, notice how that's not like perfectly flat? I thought that was rather odd. And then we're able to get it. I think what I ended up doing is, did that fit? Yeah. So it barely fit like that, but when I printed it out, it didn't have the 2 squares there on the previous one. So I redid everything, and hopefully, you know, that would work out. To give the blade a little bit more, I don't know. I don't think it would really need that, to be honest with you. I mean, because we're doing 3 walls on it. I think that's enough strength as it is. But the one that I did, I also split the handle. I did a planer cut and split that in half too. So I guess I didn't really have to. But yeah, I don't know. So anyway, yeah, that's what it ended up doing. So this one was, what was that? 12 hours, 46 minutes, about 350 grams, $6.99. So, and yeah, so we printed it out. Some interesting stuff. So that's what we got going on there. Let's see, what else do we got? Locally, talking about Warhammer stuff, I did find that there is a place close by. It is called MTG Tabletop Games, and I found it actually on Facebook, and they have a place of where you can go play games. Now, I'm not sure what the price is, or if there's like a, you know, an entrance fee or something like that. But yeah, let me see if I can find that place. Where is it? No, that's not it. Oh, here it is. So I haven't been there, but I'll give it, you know, I'll show it as a shout out anyway. So on Facebook, Jay's Computer and Hobby Mart, which is close to, yeah. But what they end up having, they have Magic the Gathering, MTG, Humphrey's Tabletop Brew and Battle. So Magic, Warhammer, Pokemon, chess. I imagine it's pretty good. On Thursdays, they end up, they do painting from 6 to 9. And yeah, so I think I'm going to go over there. I'll take a couple of guys from the pile of shame, and then yeah, go over there and do some painting. So Magic the Gathering, nice. I never really got into that. That came out after I became and did adult things. So, but there it is. And yeah, they've got drinks, snacks, tables for board games, chess, Warhammer. I'm not sure what the price is, or if there's an entry fee. You should teach. You should teach there. Show them your work. I'll take a few things. I'll take a few items, and I'll take one of my nice ones over there. And I think that'd be kind of cool. So there's another one that they ended up having. Oh, there it is. So here, I mean, that's a significant amount of people. Now, I'm not sure if that's all. That looks like some kind of card game, Magic the Gathering, I guess, I'm assuming. I don't know. Looks like they got some stuff for sale. Let's see, what else do they got? I don't know. It'll be an interesting thing. We'll give it a shot. But they also had on another one. They also had pictures of they were playing Warhammer on there. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Okay, so they got lattes. Okay, alrighty. Board Game Sunday, bring your own board game night. So it seems pretty established, but that's the first time I've ever seen that place. So yeah, looks like they definitely got some. That was the grand opening. That was January 19th. So it hasn't been open long. I guess that's Magic the Gathering or whatever the hell that is. I don't know. Must be an expensive card. So, of course, they sell stuff, obviously. Oh, they got a lot of stuff. Oh, I haven't seen this picture before. Interesting. And for those of you who don't know, Warhammer is insanely expensive, and even more so here in Korea, close to the military base, because they gotcha. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like they got Warhammer stuff, a bunch of Warhammer stuff. Oh, good Lord. I don't know. Drinks, snacks. Could be interesting. Warhammer Kill Team. Oh, that's nice. I like that little setup there. January 19th this year. Yeah, I think it's this year. I'm assuming it's this year. So look at that. They got a bunch of... That must be an expensive card, I'm guessing. I have no idea. I don't know. I still don't really get the idea of like Pokemon cards and all of that, and how cards could be worth, $30, $40, $50, or even that card that Logan Paul bought that was like 1.3 million or whatever. I just don't get that at all. But yeah, looks pretty cool. I've never played Warhammer, but yeah. Apparently Magic the Gathering is the thing. They do a lot of that. And that was January 19th. Yeah, that's January 19th this year. So today's the 26th. So yeah, it hasn't been open for long. Yeah. So yeah, we'll go over there. I'll go over there on this Thursday, and we'll paint some miniatures, and we'll see how it goes and see what they got. Oh, they got coffee. But does he know how to do it right? Looks pretty good so far. A little gloopy there. Need to do your puck prep. But it's got some good creme on it, not bad. 2 pumps. And they're going to do the little milk frothy thingy. I've got one of those too. Does it have volume? No. I don't want to do the music because I don't want to get a copyright strike. Ferrithus says, I don't get the trading card stuff either, but I do like to play, even though I get looks because I don't sleeve my cards. I have no idea what that means. Sleeve your cards. Does that mean like put it in a protector, I guess? Like a plastic bag? Okay, alrighty. Interesting. But matcha. Do they have matcha lattes? Be sure not to get those. Have it in stock. So yeah, and again, the Warhammer stuff is just crazy. That's a lot of coffee. About a double shot. Ferris says people put their cards into these ugly plastic protectors the minute they come out of the booster pack. Oh, okay. So it's kind of like putting a comic book inside the little document protector thing. Okay, I get it. Let's see if this shot does any better. That's not good. That's not good. Look at that. No. That means there's a little bit of channeling going on. A little gloopy, bubbleless. Blue? Oh. Interesting. We'll have to. I'm not sure what that is. Not sure at all. Maybe it's just colored for the hell of it. Maybe it's just food coloring. I think maybe that's it. Forest, Mocha, Soul Ring, Psychic Frog Latte. Yeah, that's going to be weird. Oh, doing the caramel. It's a lot of caramel. I don't think it's an odd way to do that. Usually you'll do puck prep. You put the grinds in your portafilter and then you'll do your puck prep to get rid of all the clumps, coffee that's clumped together. And then what you'll do is you'll level it out and then you tamp it. Or at least if you don't do puck prep, then you just level it out and then you tamp it. So it's kind of odd, a little bit. I don't know. That's going to be sweet. All that caramel. Okay, alrighty. So yeah, we'll check that out. They got some drinks there. New drinks. What do they have? Mana latte, Forest latte, Soul Ring latte, Psychic Frog mocha, Nimble Filferer cold brew. Okay, well, we'll definitely check that out. So we'll see what happens. So, they got a lot of people there. Apparently that's a big thing. Magic the Gathering. I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. We will see how that goes. Yeah, it looks like a lot of sugar. Yeah. Of course, that's this generation of military are Red Bull and Monster energy drinks. When I was in the military, we didn't have none of that bullshit. We had coffee. It was black. As long as you liked it black, that's what they had. Yeah, I remember when I was in the Army, mostly everybody drank black. And I joined in 1985. So, yeah, you learned how to make coffee, and it was black, and that was it. And it was Folgers, and, you know, it wasn't none of this crazy stuff like we got now. So, yeah, and I used to do cream and sugar, and people would look at me weird. So I would drink a lot of black coffee, but then when I was just me, I would throw in the cream and sugar. So, but then again, I don't think Folgers coffee is really good coffee. I had Folgers for 20 some years, and then I was like, coffee, you know. I think I drink at my worst, it was like a pot and a half a day. Yeah, and then like 2.5 packs of cigarettes a day along with that. So yeah, that wasn't good. And then, yeah, ended up, wasn't into the Starbucks thing, but when we got to Korea, started getting real lattes, not that super sweet junk that they got going on. And yeah, that got me hooked. So I got my own espresso machine. So yeah. Yeah. So we're going to try that out. We're going to check that place out. I need to try to find some way something to carry my my minis and my paints over there. So I got to find some type of box or something. So I'll check on Maker World too, because I'll probably go over there, look up carrying case, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. Find something like that. 2.5 packs a day. How many cigarettes are in one pack? I used to smoke Marlboros. Marlboro Reds. How many in a pack? What was it like? Was it 20? Yeah, 20. 20 cigarettes in a pack. Good Lord, that was a lot. Wow. Yeah, I smoked a lot. But I quit doing that. Quit smoking. I quit a number of times. And then the time that stuck is when my daughter was, I don't know, 3-4 years old. And she hugged my leg and she was holding on. And she had this little tear coming down her eye. She had been in like preschool or something like that. And she's like, Daddy, I don't want you to die. And I'm like, whoa, what, what's going on? What did Mom say? But no, it ended up that they saw this thing on anti-smoking. She had this little thing in the preschool thing or whatever. And of course, there's, you know, TV commercials and all that. So my daughter got it in her head that, yeah, if you smoke, you're going to die. And so she's hanging on my leg. I'm hanging, you know, hugging my leg and looking up. Those puppy dog eyes, a little tear coming down her cute little face. And it's like, I don't want you to die. Stop smoking. And then it was like, oh, it hurt. It was like, oh. So I quit smoking that day. Yeah. And I haven't smoked since. So, yeah, that's it. Ferrithus says that's 50 a day. 5 minutes a cigarette, that's 250 minutes. That's like 4 hours of continuous smoking. I know. Depends on how hard you suck. I guess I sucked pretty hard because you don't smoke. And this is the thing. I always kind of knew this, but I figured smokers don't smoke. The cigarette smokes, the person sucks. Because you have to draw air through the cigarette and the ember on the front of the cigarette to get it and to get the smoke. So you don't smoke. The cigarette smokes, you just suck. So yeah, that's kind of, and it depends on how fast you smoke. So yeah, anytime I see somebody smoking, I think, oh, a bunch of suckers. So yeah, it's chain smoke. Oh yeah, when I was out in the field, yeah, that's when it would get really, really, when I was deployed, yeah, smoke like a fiend. Did you see that law in Washington State is trying to pass on 3D printers? Yes, I know. Oh, that is, I kind of figured that was going to pop its ugly head up eventually, was with 3D printers, because now you can do all these crazy things with them. and people have, and now, but you know what? Criminals are going to do what criminals are going to do. Even if you outlaw 3D printers, criminals don't care if you outlaw 3D printers. That's all there is to it. You can outlaw guns, and criminals aren't going to care. You know, oh, we're going to take away the guns and there won't be any gun violence. Yeah, but then there'll be a drastic increase in knife and beatings and bats and all kinds of other things. So you just take stuff away until we don't have anything. You got to remember, back in the Bible, Cain killed Abel with a rock. So are they going to outlaw rocks? I don't know. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. But yeah, I thought that was pretty wild. I haven't looked at the details of that. Let me pull that up. But I wasn't surprised. I knew that eventually that would happen. Adding 3D printing. Let's see what it is. It is Bill. HB 2321 actually means for hobby. And in short, what's being discussed, an outright ban on 3D printers, but a proposed regulation that require printers to include blocking technologies that stop them from printing certain files like firearms parts if the bill becomes law. What about cosplay? You know, I thought honestly that there would be a ban that would come sooner because of copyright issues. But that didn't pop up. This popped up first. So I was kind of surprised on that. You know, yeah, there's copyright stuff and people take a model from somebody else and then they'll print it and sell it and make money and hey, that's mine. And you know, there's that settlement, take them to court or whatever, cease and desist. I thought there would be more of that and that there would be some state attention on that and maybe even federal attention on that because so many people are infringing on copyrights. So when I saw this with the gun stuff, I was like, wow, that just went from 0 to 100 real quick. Because now, what's the next thing? Oh, you can't print any parts, you know. I wouldn't print a part. Now, you got to understand, let's get back to some comments. Ferrith says, I have a huge problem with some piece of software on the printer reading my G-code, determining if that is a gun part. I have no idea how that could even work. Yeah, I know. It's just, and that means it would have to get uploaded. Something would have to get uploaded to somewhere from your computer, your machine, up to a cloud somewhere where it's evaluated, and then they say, nope, you can't do that. But if I'm running a business and I'm printing stuff, and let's say I'm printing stuff for a client that doesn't want that out in the open because of, you know, privacy concerns, number one. Two, what if it's proprietary? You know, what if it's patent pending or whatever it is, you know, guys working out and getting stuff printed out before, you know, it's just very problematic. And again, I think this is a knee-jerk reaction. You can print parts on a 3D printer. I don't think they're going to last with a gun. It just doesn't make sense. Unless you have a 3D printer that prints metal, you know, what is it, SLS? You could do that. That could work. But those are higher end machines that you're talking, what, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 or whatever. Those are expensive machines. But usually businesses that buy those are companies that make their own gun parts. And again, there's nothing wrong with making your own gun parts. It's, you know, you can make an entire gun. It's not a big deal, you know, as long as you register it in the United States and so on and so forth. I mean, you can make your own stuff. But to have this knee-jerk reaction and to say that, yeah, 3D printing, Micrality K2+, you're going to ban that? Seriously? What if I print out a bolter gun from Warhammer and then the eye in the sky, the government, whichever organization that is overseeing and actually looking at everything I print, looks at the bolter gun from Warhammer and says, nope, that's a gun part. That's a gun. Can't print that. And then, I mean, does that mean they're going to send troops to my door? Could be, because now, according to them, it looks like a gun. It's a part of a gun. It's, you know, that would be enough to warrant a warrant to come into your house and search. I know it sounds crazy, but it is. It actually is. And that's the scary part. That is crazy. Yeah, George ends up saying it's so vague that everyone is going to be hurt by it. Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever. So that's another reason why I'm thinking of getting a 3D printer before it. Just think, imagine this. In the United States, if they do something this huge on a national level, I'll be so glad I'm out of the United States. That's crazy. George says prop makers are screwed. George says, what about home CNC machines? I don't even know why you would think about 3D printers when you have home CNC machines. What about big CNC machines? You know, CNC machines in a garage. You can buy those. So how come there wasn't laws about that? But now it's on 3D printers. It's very odd. That is a very odd thing. And if you look at the majority of the people, what country has the most companies that produce 3D printers? China. China, however Trump says it or whatever. Could it be that this is a way to kind of protect the United States from Chinese products? Maybe that's it. Because remember, they did the same thing with the Huawei phones. The BYD electric vehicles can't be sold in the United States, all of that stuff. So now we're seeing, and then DJI has got banned. They can't sell any future models of drones or anything unless they're built in the United States, which I highly suspect that eventually I think China will do that unless they can get around, not having to do that. Maybe they sell the parts to some other country, and then it gets to the United States, and then, through a bunch of subsidiaries and shell corporations or whatever, so that there's no direct link to, to DJI as it is. So I don't know. It's just kind of an odd thing. Hey, we got Simon here. Simon, good day, Pigment Placers. Yes, indeed. Yes. We've got some. Kind of noticed that we got the Warhammer Dagger there. Yes, it is just waiting patiently to be painted. It's kind of dry, because I had some errors on there. So we'll dry that up, and then we'll prime it. We'll let that dry and get into painting it, and we'll see what kind of cool stuff kind of a cool dagger we can make that out to be. But yeah, George brought up about the home CNC machines, or you print replacement parts for a Nerf gun and they try to jail you. Yeah. Or cosplay items, or Halloween stuff, or, maybe you're a big Warhammer, maybe you're, I don't know, whatever it is. Maybe you just like printing, 3D printing, replica firearms, and you just hang them on your wall. Like I've got that rifle up there. That's obviously a cosplay, but do you think a computer AI generated G-code search investigator program would see that as would know the difference between cosplay and firearm parts if you took it all apart? Oh yeah, that. And if they did that, they flagged that, and then you couldn't print it, like I said, they could issue a warrant because we have now probable cause that you were trying to print out parts for a gun. Doesn't matter that it was cosplay, because now you have cosplay guns that look exactly like the same thing, but they don't shoot bullets, or like George brought up, it ends up that you could do Nerf guns and convert those over to, kind of realistic looking cosplay props and firearms. But I'm telling you, if this happens, some people are going to get swatted. I guarantee it. like I said, I was surprised at this. Because I mean, I don't know. I could go to a hardware store and get parts from Home Depot and make a gun in an afternoon. It doesn't take much at all. It's very easy. It is very easy. It is so easy. Oh, that's all I'm saying. It's so easy. But the 3D printing thing, that is just, you know, you're still going to need a barrel. You're still going to need your firing pin. You know, trigger you can make. You can make pretty much everything on a 3D printer. But realistically, those are just parts that you can get over the counter anyway. So why do we need a ban? Why are you going to ban 3D printers from printing these things if you can go to the store and get them? I can get a replacement, lower. I can get, and then I can throw in all the metal parts and stuff. I can buy those separate as well, and I can put it together and I can make my own gun. I don't know why. The thing is, I think it comes down to let's not let China into the United States. Let's put the pressure on them to drive them to open up manufacturing in the United States. I think that's what it is. But this is Washington State, so I just find that odd. But I would have thought it would have been like California or Colorado. Yeah, I was from Colorado. But Washington State, I mean, they're kind of liberal. I've lived there. But I thought that was really odd that came out. Yeah, it's just like they're going to know if they do that, then people in Washington are going to be like any businesses or whatever that are home businesses or businesses that are using 3D printing to print whatever it is that they print for the firearms industry. They're going to leave Washington, or they're just going to stop. So I don't get it. But yeah, the question remains, how are they going to know what is cosplay, what is a prop versus what is an honest-to-God gun part? Which doesn't really make sense because, again, you can get them all, you can buy them in person, over the counter. George says that would make sense if not for the fact that a few companies have started building printers here in the U.S. like Prusa. Yeah, well, and Prusa's doing that because they don't want to have to pay the tariffs. So, but I think that's a good move anyway. I mean, I kind of support that. I do support that. I think if DJI wants to have drones, which they have some awesome drones. I've got a drone here somewhere. I haven't flown it in a while, but incredible technology. Things are awesome. They're incredible. I hate the FAA and the drone laws and stuff like that because I have to take a test. I have to get certified to fly a drone, and if it's under 250 grams, then it's you get some leeway or whatever. But if it's over 250 grams, then you have to jump through hoops and the whole 9 yards. I had my little drone certification thing in the United States. I was like, this is absolutely stupid. And people are like, well, why do you think it's stupid? I mean, you're flying a drone, and it's like, it's 250 grams or it's 350 grams. Whoop-de-doo. What is that going to do? The absurdity comes when you look at ultralight aircraft. You don't need certification on anything. Ultralight aircraft. For those of you who don't know, an ultralight aircraft is a one-person aircraft. Let me pull that up. Yeah, you don't need shit. Ultracraft. Or what is it? Ultralight, that's it. It's the ultralight. Ultralight aircraft. And this is funny because you can get in trouble for flying a drone that's like 250 grams or 300 grams. And the whole thing is, it's like, oh, well, you might run it into a building, or you might hit people, you might run into another aircraft, and, you need to have all of this stuff, and it's like, it's 250 grams. Seriously, 300 grams. If you have an ultralight aircraft, let's take a look at some of these pictures. Boom. Ultralight aircraft. I mean, seriously, you can have an ultralight aircraft and you don't need to get certified on jack shit. You just go out and buy it, no lessons, and go fly it. No, sir. It is absolutely insane. It's like, how in the world is that possible that I can buy an ultralight and like that? How can I buy that and fly that, but I can't? I have to get certified for a drone. That's 250 grams. That makes no sense whatsoever. That is absolutely insane. I think it sounds like a Karen who was such a dick, a douche, that he was in the FAA and then he was like, hey, his buddies and all, and everybody's like, no, you're a jerk. And so we're going to put you over here in the drones section. And he's, oh, well, I'm going to make all these rules and regulations. And then that's how we got all these stupid rules and regulations. It's over-regulation. Far overreaching regulation is absolutely insane. Let's see what else do we got. George says the blunderbuss is stupid easy to make. Oh yeah. Shotgun's easy to make. 22 is easy to make. And there are quite a few filament manufacturers in Washington State that will leave if this goes through. Wow. Yeah, it makes no sense to me to ban 3D printers. That is just asinine. But then again, we have people in the United States that don't know what a man or a woman is. So that's what we got to deal with in the United States. It's just like, now I'm not saying, let me put a disclaimer here. You can believe on whatever you want to believe. You are more than welcome to do that. You believe that you're a unicorn or whatever it is, no skin off my nose. If you want to, it doesn't matter to me. But don't force me to play your imaginary pretend games. That's not going to happen. It's if there's an apple on a stem on the apple, there it is. If you got a prostate and you become a woman, you're still going to need a prostate exam later on in life. That's all there is to it. It's a DNA thing. So, yeah, it's just I don't care what you do, but I'm not gonna play that game stuff, and I'll be respectful and everything. But working in prisons, I've run across transgender people and stuff like that, and the ones I've run into in prison and the ones I've run into out of prison is I'm waiting for coffee. I was in a coffee shop and I'm waiting for coffee. The line is long. It was a Starbucks, and I'm waiting there, and the person in front of me is obviously trans. It's like, bad fashion choice, but then again, that's the freedom of being in America. You can dress the way that you want. I don't really care. But I mean, it was so painfully obvious. But it's like, whatever. I'm here for coffee. I'm not here for that. So this person proceeds to turn around, and because I had a T-shirt that had the American flag, not on this one, but that had American flag on the side, and assumed that I was like military or MAGA or whatever the hell that is. I just started talking and like, I'm trans. I'm trans, and you need to respect my. And I'm just like, excuse me, what? Well, I'm trans, and you need to accept me for who I am. It went into this whole spiel. It's kind of like talking to a vegan. How do you? Vegans will tell you they are vegan before they tell you your name, before they say hi or anything else. At least the militant ones, which are all the ones I've met. But this guy was the same way. It wasn't like, hey, how you doing? Oh, kind of just waiting for coffee. Yeah, no small talk, just boom, right into it. And it's like, he'd already made up in his mind that there was going to be this confrontation, and he's already on the offensive, and I'm not even awake. I haven't had coffee yet. So I'm like, I'm sorry? What does this have to do with me? Well, it's obvious. And it's like, okay, well, first of all, stop. This was a weird conversation. First, I said, first of all, stop. I said, you don't know who I am. You don't know my religious beliefs. You don't know my political beliefs or this and that. Well, you obviously voted for what, whatever. I said, no, I'm an independent. If there's good ideas on the left and the right and things make common sense and there's a lot of factual knowledge involved in that, I'm all for good ideas. That's what I ended up saying. But apparently that wasn't good enough. So yeah, it just went on this thing. I said, listen, I'm just here to get coffee. I'm not here for conversation. I'm not in a good mood. I haven't had coffee. And so I want to get back to checking my mail and have a good day. Yeah. That pissed him off even more. So I don't know. It's just odd. It's just odd. Filming companies in Washington State. There's that. Do what makes you happy. Yeah. Now I have met some trans in prison that were like that, where they didn't force it on you. But I think it was only two guys that were like that. And, they're kind, they're respectful. One was a drug addict, another one was, I don't know what his deal was, but he was in prison, so it wasn't going well for him. But he was doing a lot of business in the prison. I'll tell you that much right there. He was rolling in the dough. He was providing extracurricular manipulation, so to speak. So, but yeah, all the other ones were just like militant. It was just like, you have certain times in a prison where you have to count all the inmates to make sure that nobody ran away. Okay, it's like 3 times a day or whatever. So we're doing that, and it's like, okay, guys, come on, get into the cells. Time to go into cells. Lockdown. We're doing count. That's what they call it, is doing count. And this guy who is trans is like, oh, what? Blah, 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 and start mouthing off at me. And I said, listen, count. Get in your cell. It's count time. I don't want to have to write you up. Just is it an emergency? No. Okay, get in your cell. That's all. I don't know. It's just crazy. Oh, you're treating me bad because I'm trans. No, it's count time and you're holding it up. If I get the numbers in late, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get yelled at. I don't want to get yelled at, and I don't want to yell at you. So get in your cell, close the door, and we'll do count. Yeah. Do what makes you happy, but just don't impose it upon other people. I just don't get that at all. So, yeah. So anyway, didn't think we'd be talking about prisons, but but yeah, other than that, the upgrades have been pretty good. I think I'm happy with this. I think, like I said, what I'm going to end up doing is behind that paint station there. There are a couple of blinds, but I want to end up getting the pegboard. Pegboard's going to look good. It is really going to look nice. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yes, there it is. Let's see. I'll show you what this looks like. So here it is. Let's just make it bigger. So it's about 170,000 won. And there it is. So it's its own standing hoozy thing, and it's like 182 centimeters by 35 by 190. So that is about the same distance that I have behind the paint station there, and that would offer me so much storage room. And I think that would be a lot better. It would free up some real estate that I have on the desk over there. I mean, look at that. That looks just sharp. Holy crow, does that look nice. But we're just going to get the one, which is going to be that one there. So it's got like 6 shelves or 8 shelves, whatever it is. But yeah, that looks nice. That looks sharp. And everything's all in Korean. So, but yeah, that one looks really, really good. I'm really looking forward to getting this. And it's going to take a few weeks to get in. Of course, you could also get a desk, but I don't need a desk. But that is nice, though. But the table will fit in between there. And, of course, they got a bunch of stuff on there. But, yeah, I think that's going to turn out really good. It looks like a really, really nice, and it's metal, so that's a bonus. And then since it's a round pegboard, I think I know the dimensions or the placement of the holes, so I can start making, and it's magnetic, so it is metal. So I'm starting to kind of play around with some of the paint racks that I made on Tinkercad and have rows, nice rows of paint racks on there for all my paints. So yeah, there it is. So I've got that right there, and I started playing around in Tinkercad of how I can make my paint racks so that they can fit into these holes, and yeah, it'll be cool. I think it'll be really nice. So we're looking at doing that as well. And it's almost the end of the month. Well, it's the 26th. So yeah, a few more days. We'll wait a little bit. I blew my load on the S3 camera, which is the camera with that view there. And it turns out pretty nice. I like that. And that's a YOLO Live camera. Let's see. Does that pop up? Yep, there it is. And the video setting, you get set that at 60 frames per second. And that'll be pretty good. So yeah, I think that'll be nice. That'll be good. It will be good indeed. So yeah, I kind of blew the load on that because that was like $200, and I bought a couple other things, so I'm spent for this month. But when payday comes and we do the next bills, I'll be able to get that pegboard system. That'll come in February, but I'm thinking about going ahead and ordering it now because it'll show up maybe. When was it going to get here? Let's see. If I order it now, it'll show up on the 19th of February. So that's a little ways away. So 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So about 24 days later, 25 days. So it's going to take about a month, just shy of a month. 3 weeks, it should be able to get here. So I'm honestly thinking about ordering that maybe a couple weeks from now, as soon as payday hits, and then I'll that'll work. And so that way I can get that towards the end of February, and then I can get that all installed before we go to the Philippines on the end of March. So yeah, it's gonna be some good stuff, I think. Let's see, what's some other crazy stuff that's going on? Besides, can you imagine banning 3D printing? That's insane. In a state, in Washington State. That makes no sense whatsoever. I don't know. It's absolutely insane. Korea, what do we got going on? The exchange rate has actually gone down. It is now 1438, which has gone down considerably. It was like 1440 just a little while ago. After we got done with the gym and had lunch, it was 1440. Now it's down to 1438 per dollar. So it's going down. So that's good for the Korean people, not good for me because of the exchange rate. But then again, we've been killing it on the exchange rate in the past, so I don't feel too bad. But yeah, there's that. And their stock market has gone up and hit like the highest level ever in like 46 years. So they're doing some good stuff here. Korea's going to build 2 nuclear reactors by 2038. Yeah. So we're going to do that here in Korea. Any other interesting thing here in Korea? Besides, they've got some stuff going on, like they're coming out with a law that they want to make a law to silence. Well, actually, what they want to do is they want to combat hate speech in the guise of opinion. And yeah, you can get in trouble for that. So anything you say something that's untrue, or something that they deem as untrue, and then you can get punished for it. You can even go to prison. And then it's like, well, how's that going to work? I mean, and who is going to be the judge of what is considered hate? Because that's what it says in the thing, was that, yeah, hate speech disguised as opinions. That's pretty vague. I mean, is it, who classifies it as hate speech? Is it the current political, whoever's in charge politically, and they don't like somebody from the other side of the aisle, that now that is deemed as hate? Or, how do you know something is hateful? It's just a subjective, odd sliding scale of morality type of thing, and it's like that could have some dangerous repercussions, because who makes that determination? That's very problematic. And how many times have we seen in the past, like in the United States, somebody says, well, this is what this is, and then everybody's like, no, you're wrong, conspiracy theory. But then how many of those, like whistleblowers and some conspiracies that actually ended up being true, what happens now? What happens here in Korea? So let's say I say something that is, or I'm not going to say me. Let's say you've got a Korean who says something that's deemed as hate speech, and then they get fined and punished and they go to prison for a few years or whatever. And then later on down the road, it actually comes out that what they said was actually true. The guy lost his job, probably, his family, because there's a lot of shame involved in that. He went to prison, so he can't get a job afterwards. But then it's found out, because he's kind of like a whistleblower, conspiracy theorist, and it's actually found out that those things that he said were actually true and not hateful. Can he sue the government and get millions of dollars for false imprisonment? See, it's a problem. It's just like, it's going to be very problematic. And the thing is, it's like, it all depends on who's in power. So if your political party's in power and they pass this law, you're like, yay, we can, silence all the people who don't think like us. And we could actually fine them and put them in prison. That's probably not a good thing to do. But then next president or next election comes in, and then the other party gets put in charge. All of a sudden, all the first people are going to be, oh, wait a second, why am I going to jail? Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and there's no specific standards that delineate any type of, well, what is good, what is bad, what is hate speech, what is opinion, that's opinion, but it's hate and it's disguised as opinion. Well, who makes that call? It just doesn't make sense on that. I don't know. And then, since we're talking about some other stuff here, had a little interesting conversation with somebody online, what are the odds, of people in Korea that were getting kicked out because they overstayed their visa and they were working illegally in Korea. And it ends up, this person said, who was a service member's spouse, because they live next to a U.S. military base, so you get a lot of spouses spend 6 months here in Korea, and they think they're world travelers, and they know everything about foreign countries and blah 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 and all that. It's just amazing on how monumentally ignorant some of these people are. So she's like, well, you don't understand, how dare they kick this person out? And the person in question they came to Korea on an educational visa, they graduated, they didn't go for a D10 visa, which is like a transition period visa that allows you to look for work in Korea because you just graduated. It's easy to get, but yet this person didn't get that, and a number of people haven't gotten it, who do the same thing. And they went to go work in a factory that is not related to their degree in any way, shape, or form. And this person got mad because this person was getting deported. Well, it shouldn't be that way. There's so many things going on and so many different things in a person's life that you just can't tell a person to leave. Yeah, you can. It's Korea's country. They can do whatever they want. If you don't follow the rules, then you got to go. If you overstay your visa, and here's the thing, Getting visas in Korea to stay in Korea isn't really that hard. You can, like I said, she could have the lady that got caught overstaying her visa and working illegally in a factory, and she wasn't paying taxes. So again, that's another criminal offense. There's that. Plus a few other things that were there. So it's like 3-4 time criminal. Yeah, she graduated. She could have done the D10 visa. She could have done a work vacation visa so she could work part time and stay in Korea for a year. She could have put in for, yeah, could have put in for a work visa to work at a factory. She didn't do that. So it's like every excuse under the sun to say that the immigration system is so messed up. And then the funny thing is like, yeah, they have a D10 visa. They have all these other visas. What do you mean it's not fair? And then she went on this rant about how, well, immigrants should be allowed to go into any country. And it's like, what? Yeah. Refugees, immigrants, she said both of those words in different parts of the conversation. And it was like, so you're telling me that a sovereign country is no longer sovereign because anybody who is an immigrant or a refugee, you automatically have to take them in. And that's what she wanted. And it's like, that's not how that works. And thankfully, that's not how it works. Because you don't know who you're getting. And we've seen what happens when you don't do the checks and you get people that are undesirable. It's interesting that all the refugees, the majority of them, leaves some wiggle room there, but the majority of them that go to other countries were not accepted by any Middle Eastern countries whatsoever. They were all refused. What? Things that make you say, why? What are the odds? What are the odds? If your neighbors don't want you, yeah, that says something. So, I don't know. Absolutely insane. So anyway, we got that going on. Looking forward to do this Neo block sanding thing here. This is kind of weird. Sanding block, it's some hobby stuff. And then this, and then this Neo Blade ultrasonic knife cutter Hoosie thing that we got going on. Going to do a review for that again. Company sent it to me and said, hey, do a review, do some unboxing, do some tests or whatever, see if you like it, put out a video. And yeah, we just asked that you do a few videos and you're good to go. So it was like, yeah, they wouldn't pay me to do it. Of course, that's would seem kind of biased. But I told them up front and I said, hey, I'm going to do an honest review. And if it works, I'll tell everybody. If it doesn't, it has problems, I'll tell everybody. And they were like absolutely cool with that. So yeah, we're going to do some tests with this Neo block ultrasonic cutter and knife blade Hoosie thing that we got going on. And we're going to test it with cardboard. We're going to test it with PLA and some parts and see if it cuts through that. We're going to do some hard plastic. I want to make like a sanding enclosure with like a, I don't know, big clear box, with a lid on it. I think Uncle Jesse did one of those. I'm going to do that. But yeah, it should be interesting. We'll see how that goes. So that's going to be upcoming. Start doing that this week, checking it out and seeing how it works, and then start making some videos on it and, do all make it look professional. We'll do all that. Throw it in a Final Cut Pro 10 and make it look all nice and pretty. And then see how it works. So, because those things are expensive. Has anybody got one of those? Those ultrasonic knives? They seem pretty good. But like Neo block ultrasonic knife? Yeah, Hozo. Ultrasonic cutting knife for leather, wood, printing, blah, blah, blah. And let me show you what it's got here. We'll take a look-see. So, this is the Neo Blade Creator Combo. it's kind of cool. It's got the cutter. It's got the little charger thing. You got a bunch of stuff in here. And I don't know, does mine have that or does mine just have the, I don't know, it might be that one. But 200,000 won, basically 200,000 won. So 200,000. We'll just do 1440. 138, $140, somewhere around there. And then it's comes with a bunch of blades. You can do plastic, supposedly wood, PLA, models, stuff like that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to take a look at that. So yeah, it's supposed to go like, what, 40,000 megahertz or something like that, and some super strong blades or whatever. Should be interesting. Ferris says, I have seen those are cool, but it's more a cutting help and not an absolute cutting tool. Yeah. Yeah, it's not like a saw, per se. The blades on there are kind of like a razor blade-ish type of thing. So, but yeah, we can do some models, dental casting, 3D printing. Looks like resin, wood. So yeah, it'll be leather, all that stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting to take a look at that and see how well that works instead of just using like cutters and snips and side cutters or whatever. Looks like it does pretty good. 40 watts of adaptive cutting power. I mean, that looks pretty impressive. So you got leather, plastic, looks like acrylic, wood. Two cutting modes. Interesting. Trimming, deburring, fine-tuning, detailing, splitting, carving, grooving, chiseling. Oh, precision. Press and hold for short, precise cuts on intricate or delicate parts. Toggle down for non-stop long cuts on big projects. So yeah. I mean, this looks pretty good. The other ones I saw were like $300, $280, $250 higher. I mean, it was like, holy crap, you got to be kidding me. High carbon steel. So you got standard blades, long, chisel, curved, double-edged. So yeah, that's what we're going to be checking out. We're going to check that out and see how it works. And then what is the other thing you have? Oh yeah, the other thing is that Neo block is what they sent. Oh, okay, that's not as expensive as I thought. So it's a little round block that we got going on there. It's kind of an interesting little thing. Oh, okay, I see. Getting cracks and crevices, that could come in handy. Interesting, interesting. 3 modular heads, seamless workflow. I mean, does it rotate? No, it doesn't rotate. I guess it's just like a sanding block. It just holds it there. Bunch of different grits and stuff like that. Okay, that could be useful. So you can cut and sand and do all kinds of cool stuff. Yeah. Interesting, interesting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, to actually try that out and see how that works and whether it works as good as all the videos and all that says. So we'll be testing out some different materials. PLA, we'll be checking out. I got some parts and pieces that I can do. So we'll do some tests on that. We'll do some cardboard. We'll do some hard plastic. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. We'll see how that works out. But that's cheaper than other ones that I'd seen on like Kickstarter. And after the Kickstarter, man, those things are expensive. Probably works well for some applications, just like any cutter for the rest. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Will it be worth it? I don't know. We'll find out. So anyway, I've got some other stuff to do, but yeah, I just want to do a little update on what's going on. And in the studio, pick up my mess, organize stuff, threw a bunch of crap away, so things have been working out well. And again, that pegboard will get in here one of these days. Maybe I'll order that because I do have a few dollars tucked away. And then the other thing, I got to figure out how to get my YouTube money, because I made a few nickels and dimes off of that, and get that. So I'm kind of struggling with that because it's like I did all the information, put my name, verified, and then yeah, it's still there. They're supposed to cut me a check, and I don't know. It's just odd. We'll see how that goes. Alrighty, with that, we're going to cut you off, and hopefully everybody will have a good week, the rest of this week. And Friday, I'll be in the hospital. I got some routine appointments that I got to do, the 60-year checkup thing, whatever. The fun one, colonoscopy, that'll be interesting. Of course, they put me under for that, so that's okay. So we got that coming up and a bunch of other stuff. I'd rather do the 3D printing, hobby painting stuff than the colonoscopy, but it is what it is. So with that being said, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out. I would appreciate that if you could do that. And then if you want to contact me with any other information or links or tips or tricks or ideas, whatever it is, you can do so on, there it is, my email address. Always answer my email. If you want to buy me coffee, link, description box, go. But like I said, the best thing that you could do is like and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate that. That's better than the coffee. So with that, we will let you all go. Have a great week, everybody. Do some stuff. Have fun. Life's too short to not have fun. Get into a hobby, work, move, do something. Whatever it is, enjoy it and have some fun. And we will see you all in the next video. Faritha says, take care. Enjoy your day. I'm fighting my 2D printer in the meantime. Okay. Hopefully that'll work out for you. For everybody else, have fun, and we will see you on the next video. Peace.